Cause I'm up right now. Cause we up right now. What's up, y'all? Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. The chat is already popping. Texas, the number one ranked Texas Longhorns, defeat the Oklahoma Sooners 34-3 in Dallas, Texas, in the Cotton Bowl at the State Fair. Embarrassed in front of mom, dad, and all the hosts. And a belt to ass performance by the Texas Longhorns, like we predicted on this channel, like I've been saying to everybody on this platform that follows, whether you're on Bleacher Report, whether you're on YouTube, however you find me in regards to Texas content. That's why you see the chat here. And Gabe Villar started off, right? Belt to ass, because that's been the campaign. That's been the mission. That's been what it was for three teams in particular on our schedule. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody else ain't going to get theirs, but three teams that needed to be dealt with. And OU was number one. The next team is Arkansas, and then A&M in terms of the belt-to-ass list. But Texas is now 6-0. They continue to prove and show why they are not just the number one team in the country, but the most complete team with the least amount of flaws in the country. In my opinion, because, Drew, you're saying it right now. It should have been worse. Texas didn't even play good football today like that. Now, they played great football on the defensive end. I'm giving the defense an A. Y'all, it's mid-October. Okay, it's mid-October. We've had a whole seasonal change, and they've allowed 3 touchdowns in this season. And we're halfway through the season. We're 6-0. We're halfway through the season. They've allowed 3 touchdowns this year. So the defense, that unit gets an A. But the issues that we had from an execution standpoint, offensively, we'll talk about the quarterback and the challenges he had as welcome back Quinn Ewers. And then obviously kicking game, there were some concerns there as well. So we'll get into those things because when you're number one and you're aspiring to achieve the things that we're trying to achieve and the goals that we have, especially coming off of last year's effort, right? Nat Sark, in the last 2 seasons is now 18-2 as the Texas coach, 12-2 last year, 6-0 this year. So he's got this program rolling. But in regards to those issues, when we talk about nitpick and whatnot, we have to nitpick at the highest level, right? So there will be things that you'll hear in this video where if you don't catch me at the right time or whatever, you'll be like, why are they complaining? There's no complaints. We got to nitpick when you're at the top because we're trying to win a natty. We're trying to win the SEC. We have big goals, right? And that requires everybody to be locked in every single week. And so far, Texas is passing the test with flying colors, led by this coaching staff and Steve Sarkisian. Guys, I have a poll up here. If you haven't seen it, who was the MVP of today's game? If you had to give one person the golden hat, is it Quintravian Wisner out of DeSoto, Texas? Is it Gunnar Helm and the performance he had at tight end? Gunnar Helm, who I said was one of Texas's most important players on the entire team in the offseason. And that video did okay over on YouTube. If you're not following me on this platform, please follow me on YouTube at Fanatic Perspective. But I made a whole video in the offseason talking about the importance of tight end in Steve Sarkisian's offense and how Gunnar Helm would step up for Jatavian Sanders in big games. And this is why I said, when you saw what he did against Michigan, I am not surprised that Gunnar Helm had the football game he had today. And then another person, Anthony Hill on defense, who was just all over the place, absolute menace, and foolishly called out by some guys that should know ball better. I don't have anything against, Gabe Eichert and Teddy Lehman and those guys that are they're OU guys, former players, great players, but they're also fans, and I think their fandom got a little ahead of them when calling out Anthony Hill after he had just been named, I believe, Pro Football Focus linebacker of the week, grade-wise. So whatever film they were watching, their football eye was clearly off, as we all saw. And Anthony Hill answered the bell in a massive way. So, let me know who you guys have in terms of who balled out. I'm following here in the chat, so please stay engaged. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe, the whole bit. keys to victory. What happened today? This Texas defense is for real. Now, I know the OU offense is bad. Michael Hawkins Jr. was out there running around like his head was cut off. Yes, I'm turnt at an all-inclusive, Doug. Yes, I am turnt right now. I hope you can feel the vibes coming your way. We are out here in the Dominican Republic, baby. Okay. We are out here on that hen white. Okay. So we are turnt, but I still got my analysis pen. We still out here giving you fact-based analysis. So Doug White, yes, we are turnt over here in DR. Okay. On a victory Saturday after we just went straight. I think it's time to break it out, right? I think it's time. Y'all ready? After we just went straight belt to ass on OU. Okay. So belt to ass on OU. It's time to break it out. Anyway, getting back to the analysis here, because I do want to talk ball and touch on some things, but this is just fun. Anyway, this defense, to me, the Texas defense was the most overlooked part of the whole equation coming into this game. And I somewhat alluded to this when we had our Red River Trash Talk session with Chris and Seth earlier this week on Monday. And my point was, I am really concerned about Seth Luttrell and Joe Billy Job Finley, or whatever the hell his name is, Joe Dirt or whatever, the other person, the other stooge in the room, versus Pete Kwiatkowski and Johnny Nansen. Johnny Nansen had OU and Seth Luttrell and them boys in hell just a few months ago. And what we saw today was more of the same. I understand the lack of personnel for OU and the lack of horses, which is funny because now a lot of OU fans want to point to, well, we didn't have personnel. We didn't have Andrew Anthony. We didn't have Gibson. We didn't have Farouk. We already knew this. We didn't have Burks. But you still wanted to hit us with Sooner Magic as the outcome to win this football game. There was no outcome for OU to win this football game. OU was never going to win this football game because Texas's defense was the elite, superior defense in this matchup, even better than OU's defense. OU's defense is good, but they allow explosive plays. They are too aggressive. They're like that boxer in the ring that doesn't protect themselves when they go and try to get super, super aggressive, and they want to harass you and close off space and really smother you, right? Try to smother you into a corner. Well, those of us who understand boxing and combat sports, that presents several different counter punch, counter strike opportunities. Okay. So you saw Sark get to it. The first touchdown to Gunnar Helm. Sprint right, roll, boot action to the right, everything kind of flood concept, but he has the tight end leak on the backside because he knows OU is going to over pursue. They will not have anybody back home on the other side. It's actually a variation of the famous Sark screen that he's done so well over the last few years with guys like Bijan Robinson and Jonathan Brooks, but it was a screen to the tight end off of bootleg roll. That's diabolical work by Sark, knowing that OU always over pursues on defense. So they attacked this OU defense today. I understand, we had a shortfall in terms of the points total. I've told you guys Texas will roll out of bed and score 30 regardless. We got to 34 today. It was a disappointing 34. Quinn was not sharp. Okay, Quinn was not sharp. Very first play of the game, I believe he had Gunnar Helm wide open in the middle of the field. For whatever reason, he doesn't pull the trigger. He takes a sack. We go run second down, minimal yards. And then third down, he misses Matthew Golden on a dig route, who is wide butt booty naked open. Okay. You can't be more open than that. So Billy Bowman makes the pick. Yeah, great job getting the interception, Billy Bowman. But is that good defense or is that Texas just giving them the football? That's not good defense to me, because those holes and those gaps and those guys in space were open all day. And Kirk Herbstreit did a great job of highlighting this throughout the broadcast if you watched it on TV. And if you go back and watch the broadcast, or you have access to the All-22 film, whoever you are, you will see people wide butt booty naked open downfield. So Quinn clearly needed to get adjusted to the speed of the game. rhythm, accuracy, all those things. It's frustrating, especially considering how well Arch Manning had been playing in there. Okay, I get it. When you have a Manning behind and somebody talented like Arch, who might be one of one in his own right, it's you don't have much patience for that level of quarterback play. Also considering that Michael Hawkins Jr., I want to give him some credit, had good composure early in the game and was able to move his team down the field, get some points, take care of the football for the most part, and play complementary football to OU, which was what, trying to run the clock and keep the score down and shorten the snaps, right? Because the avalanche that occurred at the end of the second quarter was OU's doom. The game was over because we're not Auburn. We don't suck and hate our coach and blow leads like they do. Once that game was 21-3, Oklahoma was absolutely unapologetically cooked. There was no way they were going to come back in that game because this Texas defense is elite, led by Anthony Hill, who was called out, David Benda, Michael Taff. You saw Derek Williams come back today, who did leave the game with an injury. He came back today and forced a fumble on Tatum. Just their ability to make those explosive plays. One of the things we were critical about our Texas defense in 2023 was their inability to make those big plays, those inability to force those turnovers. This defense did that today in a big spot to blow this game open. And then the person who I accurately predicted to be our unsung hero today, which is why he's front and center on my poll, Quintravian Wisner out of DeSoto, Texas, who I understand he had the fumble, and God bless Silas Bolden for showing that hustle, Jordan Whittington style, and getting on top of that football and recovering it. But Wisner today was unbelievable, darting in between lanes, showing that patience behind his lead blockers. I was really, really impressed with how he allowed the runs to develop. Jaden Blue just seems to be going at he hits the hole as hard as he can, and it's a pop, but I don't see the look for the cutback lanes the way I see with Wisner. And so just really impressed with him, really impressed with the productivity in the throw game. I think he's probably RB1 or RB1A or 1B, however you want to have it. That's how well he's been playing football for us this year. And that's how good he was today. He was one of our best, if not our best offensive player, Quintravian Wisner. So remarkable job by that young man today. And also it helped settle Quinn down. Now, I know Quinn got off to the rough start. He was 1 for 3 or whatever, had the pick. But then he immediately hit 7 of his next 8 passes, hit the big pass to DeAndre Moore to get started. And then after that, it was, he was pretty clean for the most part. Didn't always like some of the decisions he made. I thought we left some points on the board in several different places. We weren't good on 4th down. Those are things that got to improve. And some of it is just decision making. We go to the RPO concept, thought we probably could have handed that off and run. Whatever his read is, he sees it to the outside, but he makes a nasty sidearm throw that's not effective. And then the next play, we miss Wingo for a touchdown on the slow developing fade. Those things need to get cleaned up. Those are execution challenges because, y'all, let me tell you something. Bleacher Report, listen up. Steve Sarkisian was in his bag today. And the players on offense really didn't even reward him the way they should have for what he called today. Steve Sarkisian called a game where we should have had 56 points plus. I'm going to say it again. Steve Sarkisian today called a game. If you know ball and you watch that film, you will see the points that were left out there that Stark schemed up with just when we talk about the Kendricks and the Drakes of the world, how sharp their pens are. Well, that's how sharp Sark's pen is as a play caller and as a play designer. Tim Tebow, during the SEC college football show this morning, brought up Sark and the similarities that are, the intricacies of his offense and compared him to, Tebow said, I feel like you're the Kyle Shanahan of college football, right? And Sark took that with praise and ran with it and said, not only do I look up to those guys and take a lot away from what they do, but I got our guys watching the McVays, the Andy Reeds, the Shanahans, the LaFleurs each and every week to take away those wrinkles so we can add them on Monday install. Our guys are fired up for Monday install because they don't know what's coming next. Clearly, one of the things we saw on film was our old little throwback wide receiver pass that we used to do with Worthy that we did with Golden, where Golden misses a touchdown because he doesn't set his feet. He hits it later on down the game with Gunnar Helm before Quinn Ewers runs it in for the final touchdown. But just those little wrinkles, right, that you can either take away from other teams like the 49ers that have a bunch of weapons when they're healthy. They're just so formidable. How do we get these guys into space and maximize their talents and have them complement each other off of, conceptual based stuff to attack the defense? Brent Venables had nothing for Sark. He had nothing for Sark. He got out coached at every facet of the game. He got out coached head up, offense and defense. He got out coached roster management and personnel wise coming into this game. He got out coached in terms of management overall the game, who won those big situational moments or situational areas that Brent Venables often talks about. Texas blew this thing open, the last 2-3 minutes of the first half. That's a huge, huge portion of a game from a momentum standpoint in terms of who determining the outcome, who the winner is. So very impressed with how Sark managed this game and coached it up. Yes, Michael Van Buren, who is, doing some things right now, I guess, in the Georgia game. I'm not watching right now. Obviously, I'm talking to you guys here on the Bleacher Report app. But this isn't shade to Michael Hawkins Jr., who battled today. He's a young kid, hasn't played much football. Michael Van Buren at Mississippi State gave us more bump than Michael Hawkins Jr. did today. And I know somebody that's super emotional, that doesn't have their life or medication in check, is going to come on here and say something outlandish to address me on that claim. I'm ready for it. Go watch the film. Michael Van Buren was better. He was better than Michael Hawkins Jr. It's okay to say that. And I tried to tell you guys, we faced the right guy right before the bye week that plays just like the guy we were about to play. So did you notice how good those rush lanes were for Texas in terms of quarterback scramble and not allowing him to break pocket and break contain? Every single yard Michael Hawkins got on the ground, he had to earn it. Every single thing he had to do, he had to earn it or run through somebody. Oh, and also the point I made about Texas's speed on defense. Texas's speed is remarkable. Laterally, getting out of space. Anthony Hill Jr., David Benda, Mo Blackwell, a.k.a. Game Speed, out there. Baron Sorrell, understanding leverage, leveling off at the quarterback, drifting back, boom, suffocate the pocket, sack the quarterback. Jermaine Lole made a play today at the end of the game. Did y'all see that? Did y'all see Lole get this strip sack? Vernon Broughton's been getting busy all year. We know what it is. His stock continues to rise. And the other thing, too, with this defense, they continue to just hold it down in the air. Now, I know we were not expecting to face any type of on-it passing attack. OU did a good job of getting the ball to Bonnie's kid a little bit. He did a couple things when he was in there. And then I don't know where the brother went to after that. I guess he's moved on to start track season. But the rest of them, it was really Zion Kearney who they were really working the ball to, or their tight ends. So we didn't really get that pressure or feel or tested like that downfield. I think that was probably a miss by Seth Luttrell and their staff the game's getting out of reach. If you're not going to put Jackson Arnold in, you're not going to put Casey Thompson in. I understand what Michael Hawkins is good at and what he's trying to do to protect the football, but game's getting out of reach. OU defense is getting torched. You got to do something to try to, help them out and try to push the ball downfield. So didn't see much of that. And they kind of kept it rather conservative, just looking to get out of there, which is how a lot of teams look when they play Texas. So you know what, OU, we'll take that. That's probably our fault. That's on us for why you tucked your tails into the shell and decided to get away and fight for another day. We do that to a lot of teams, and we did that to you today. So can't wait to hear you guys in the comments if you're bold enough to come up. What else do we want to talk about? Man, they put on a clinic for 3 quarters. We did not. We defensively I thought we were really good, but missed field goals. We can be better. Texas can be even better. Trust me on that. That was Quinn's footwork today was as bad as it was his freshman year. And I'm gonna be fair and just chalk it up to ring rust or whatever. But I was not pleased with his footwork today. I thought that could have been a lot better. I don't know why the screen was in reverse. Forgive me. Um, I thought our offensive line was pretty good, really. People made so much about the OU defensive line and how good they are up front. I mean, how many explosive runs did they allow today? I mean, we were getting what we wanted on the ground, especially with Wisner in there, just being a little patient and countering because those guys are so aggressive flying upfield. I'm not saying when I say aggressive, I'm also not meaning that OU's undisciplined or anything like that. I mean, obviously, what they do is very effective against most of their opponents. But people that know how to play ball and people that know how to counterpunch, that's easy bread for us. You want to play me that way? This is what's going to happen. So for us, it's like that's light work. But in terms of the how and why that occurs, is because when you're flying there, all Texas is thinking is replace the space, right? That's a concept you'll hear a lot. Guy blitzes from depth, guy blitzes from there. Bang that slant right there, Wingo. If Quinn throws it on time, Quinn, A, you shouldn't get hit. And B, that slant is now replacing where Stutzman just left, right? And now we have nothing but space because it's just you one-on-one with their safeties. That's how you play football. It doesn't have to be that deep. It doesn't have to be that complicated. And as exotic as BV is, and as exotic and all these different looks and wrinkles that OU's defense can throw at you, if you're not elite stopping the run, you can be had. And they gave it up to Dylan Sampson. They gave it up to Jarquez Hunter. And today they gave it up to Quintravian Wisner. So what's new? Where was I inaccurate? Because y'all love to go on Twitter and YouTube and save bookmarks for shit that I said. But I never see y'all come back and put it when I was right or why I said what I said. So today we stand on business. Okay. And that's exactly why it was a belt to ass situation. Okay. Now, as we move on here in our analysis of today's game, and talking to you guys, that defense is begging us to run. I didn't hear our Mason Thomas name once. Remind Chris and Seth of that. Oh, don't worry. We will get those brothers and their thoughts. I want to say this. Seth has been so far been very gracious in defeat. I have no real smoke for him. Chris is the one we got smoke for because he said we weren't even contenders for the SEC before the season started. I knew that brother was lying through his teeth from the moment he said that and how he felt. I knew he was triggered and afraid. And when people are scared and desperate and don't have much to rely on, very little hope in their lives, those are the type of comments that get made. And then they got to deal with the being on the belt to ass list. So I would be down bad too if I was him. I know what it's like. I'm going to be a good friend and be there for those guys to help them get back up. They will see the light again. But today they're going to have to hold that L and hold that ass whooping. Now, as we advance to next week, because what today turned into was a tune-up game. It's crazy to say that, but what today turned into was a tune-up game. This was supposed to be a 14.5-point spread, right? And then at game time, it goes up to like 16.5, and I think on some sports books, it ended up closing at -17. It didn't even matter. I picked the game to be 52-17 because I really felt we were going to whip their ass. And I don't think I was as far off as folks thought when everybody laughed at me when I gave my prediction. But if you really think about it, what does 52-17 mean? That means we're going to win by I thought we were going to win by 35 points. We won by 31. So I was more on point than most other people were in terms of at least margin. We won by 31. I had us winning by 35. I thought we were going to punch the ball in more. I also thought OU's offense and Seth Luttrell were going to do more than what they did. So I actually underestimated my own defense in that regard. Also, let me tell you guys this, because there's a narrative going around online right now, and I want to squash this before it gets going. I understand that we have not played any juggernaut offenses or an elite offense or anybody like, let's say, Cam Ward in Miami with a bunch of future pros. I get that. The kids can only control who they can control on the schedule. That's who we play. We play who we play. However, those two things of Texas having an elite defense and Texas having not played by, those two things do not need to be mutually exclusive. Okay? Texas can still have an elite defense even with who they're playing. I don't care who you're playing. Allowing 3 touchdowns in 6 games is outstanding. I don't care who you're playing. I don't care how bad OU's offense is. I don't care who they didn't have anybody. They didn't score a touchdown day. It's the second game in this rivalry, Steve Sarkisian versus Brent Venables, that Brent Venables coached OU team did not score a touchdown. That's now 2 out in 3 games. Sark's now 2-1 versus BV in this rivalry. But people that keep saying our schedule is soft, and then we play you, and then I don't hear from these people unless I go and visit Arkham Asylum, because you've been locked away because you went mad. And I say that halfway jokingly, but it's true. I don't like. We got to give this Texas defense credit at some point. What they're doing is remarkable. I don't like. Yes, the opponents matter, and they're gonna have their share down the road, especially playoff time. We get there in health willing, but as a Texas fan, as somebody that's followed this team since, at least publicly here on YouTube, since the end of the Charlie Strong era, the Tom Herman days, and to see us just get out coached in this game, to see us get out prepared in this game, not have the roster management that OU used to have with their offensive line and their quarterback room and their backs and their receivers. They just always seem to be loaded. And it's so refreshing to be on the side of the better coach, the guy that has a step ahead of what the other guy's doing, the guy that has more depth, the guy that has taken the time to build up that roster, and allow his young stars to be dogs on top of just still working with and spending that time with his core veterans and developing them for the next level and beyond. I haven't been in that situation before, so it's really cool and dope to see all that play out. Folks, hit that poll there. Let me know what you think. Who's the MVP of today's game? I'm really excited to hear from you guys. Full belt to ass today by Texas. And while Quinn didn't play his best football, don't be surprised if you see him come out against Georgia looking sharp and being on time to start that game. I think some of the pressure that he'll face this week, especially in a win, is good pressure. And I think sometimes Quinn is somebody that needs to be pushed, at least for right now. I don't think he's reached that maturity level as a player and a person to where he's going to give the business workman-like effort every single night. I don't know the guy. I'm not in the locker room. That's just my perception on what I see. He's my quarterback. I never advocated to bench him today or say, oh, let's look at the other person. A, I knew the Texas defense wasn't going to let OU offense go anywhere because they're trash. B, he's working back. And there has to be, and if you're gonna, if a coach, as a coaching staff, if you're gonna decide not to play the guy against Mississippi State and have those game reps, yes, I know there was a bye in between, but to just go cold like that after a month, I told you guys 2022 is an anomaly. That was a one-off situation where he was a freshman and didn't even know what he was doing regardless. Now, against a better OU defense, against a better OU team, it was a struggle today. But our team's so freaking talented that we can play C-minus ball. Our quarterback takes a little bit of time to get going, and we still walk away but with a 3-touchdown win. You tell me who the best team in the country is. Don't worry, I'll wait. Who's the best team in the country? Quarterback didn't play all like that today at all. Still dominated. Line of scrimmage, run game, athletes, people making plays in space. OU guys looking like they're running in quicksand, getting walked down by people like Michael Taft, who people wanted to ridicule online about us starting a white safety. And he opens the game getting a 20-yard tackle for loss, which probably should have been longer. Keep talking that talk. We receive it, and we spend that stuff into gold on this end. I love this football team. I love what I'm seeing, and there's still so much to work on. The run game, we had the explosive today. That was dope. We're still not where we need to be, where I've seen us be in the last few years, run game wise. So getting that continuity back, making sure that Isaiah Bond is healthy. First and foremost, we know he left the game, but making sure that the offense is just clicking. We're constantly in a flow of this is what we do. We convert third downs, we convert first downs. Like we know how to move the football. Zach T, real question. Does the winner of OSU Oregon jump us? Not today, in my opinion. Unless Ohio State goes to Eugene and beats Oregon by like 50, then yeah, I mean, sure, you can have it for this week. It's fluid. But I mean, because you look at Alabama's situation, right? Which I had them number one after their win against Georgia. That was the most impressive win of the season, and I'm big on rewarding resume wins versus debating on who you lost to. That's just me. So with that being said, I did put some weight into Bama being, having that type of win and being number one. Obviously, they go and lose to Vanderbilt. Crazy, disappointing game. And, those are some areas and programs and whatnot that can be, built back up under those circumstances. But I think we stay at one. I'm cool with that. I it doesn't really matter to me as long as we keep winning and doing our thing and try to get to 7-0 next week against the Georgia Bulldogs. Hit that poll. Let me know who you think was the MVP of today. And to my OU friends and family, OU sucks. You guys really suck this year. That defense is good, but slightly overrated. They do give up hell of explosives. And y'all know, you and I both know we left a lot of meat on the bone. That could have been worse. But 34-3 to me is still embarrassing. I'd be in shambles if my football team lost a game that way. But yeah, welcome to the SEC. This ain't the Big 12 no more. We ain't going out like that no more. Starting the SEC off with a bang here. Well, I'm in DR, but figuratively speaking, in Texas. So let me know in the comments. I appreciate you guys so very much tuning in. Wonderful, wonderful victory overall. Just being hyped for this team, hyped for the growth, what we've seen, what we will continue to see with the things that they'll open up. We've now seen that jet sweep bubble action and Ryan Wingo hit a couple times. What does the next iteration of that play look like, right? Does that emotion that goes into a wheel route where now he's running into space? Can we work with Quinn to get some of those balls down so that some of those bigger guys can try to high point them? That was one thing that I always had an issue with Sam and LJ Humphrey, and then the issues that he had there too, sometimes playing with bigger receivers. So really, really, really just, man, we really we really went into Dallas and did our thug thizzle. So could be more appreciative of the opportunity to be able to stream here and share my Texas football fandom. You guys support the comments. You know what to do. Hit that like button, the whole bit. And we'll be back with more. Remember, horns always up. Hook 'em.